And last week I asked you guys if you thought it was God's plan for you to be in this Men for Him Bible study. I also asked you if you thought God directed our study last week, or did I just think it up? And my question for you tonight is, do you think God has a plan for your life? But I know that God is going to really share some things that you're going to relate to, that we all can relate to in this video. Does God have a plan for my life?
Today, I want to talk about the plan that God has for our life, because here's what I know about us in seeking God's plan. At some level, to some extent, to some degree, we have all asked this last pressing question that everyone has about God, and it's this right here. Does God have a plan for me? It doesn't matter who you are in this room, you have wondered to some degree, even if you didn't say it verbally, you said it at some point in your life. Does God have a plan for me? Truth of the matter is, we have all wondered if God was at work in our life with a plan. We have all doubted whether or not God had a plan for us. And even if we felt like, yeah, God may have a plan for other people, God may have a plan for them, I wonder if God has a specific personal plan for me. And I don't know about you, but I've spent a lot of time in my life thinking this question. I spent a lot of nights up late at night thinking to myself this question right here. Does God have a plan for me? And even as we begin to unpack this whole idea of God having a plan and thinking about if God has a plan or not for our life, there's something within all of us that pushes back against this idea that God has a plan. There's something that rises up within us that pushes back to say, Marquise, I don't know about this whole idea of God having a plan for my life. Because when I look at my life, it doesn't look like God has a plan. In fact, there's a few categories I think we all fall into when it comes to pushing back against this idea of whether or not God has a plan for us. The first category is this right here. For some of you, you would say you push back because I don't know the plan.
Number one.
And there are some people in this room and you're very type A and you love to have control and you're thinking to yourself, man, I just don't know the plan. And isn't it true? Isn't it true that when you don't know the plan, you begin to doubt the plan? Isn't it true that when you don't know whether to go left or right or what's mapped out in front of you, you don't know what's ahead, when these types of people don't know what's ahead, they begin to doubt whether or not there's a plan at all. So these people would say, Marquise, I hear you, but I push back against this idea that God has a plan for me because, Marquise, I don't know the plan. I don't know what's ahead. I don't know what's to come in my life. And if I don't know it, I'm beginning to doubt it. Others of you in the room, you would say this right here. You would say that I don't believe there is a plan.
Number two.
Marquise, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a skeptic. I don't really believe in this whole idea of God having a plan for my life because when I look at this world, there's no way that there is a God that has a plan. When I look at what I see on the news, when I look at what I see in the world, there's no way there could be a God that has a plan. So Marquise, no, I don't believe at all that there is a plan in place. I don't believe it. And for some of you in this room, you fall into this category because you choose to believe, I don't believe that there is a plan because of the life that I see in front of me. For others of us in the room, we just say this right here. You say, I missed the plan.
Number three.
Marquise, if there was a plan, I missed it. I started off well and I started tracking with God, but then somewhere along the way I drifted. And somewhere along the way I started making my own decisions. And somewhere along the way I start to find out that I don't know if this is the plan that God has for my life, and I begin to drift. And somewhere along the way, Marquise, I missed the plan. I missed it. And if you grew up anything like me, you grew up believing or hearing that God had this perfect will and this perfect plan for your life, and it was almost elusive. You had to watch out for it. You had to be mindful of it because you could miss this whole plan. And if you made one wrong decision, then you were outside the plan. For a lot of us in this room, you'd say, Marquise, the reason why I push back against this whole idea of God having a plan is because I feel like I missed it. And then there's others of us in this room that fall into a category that has a lot of us. It's this category right here. Marquise, I messed up the plan.
Number four.
Marquise, if there ever was a plan, the mistakes that I made in high school messed up that plan. If there was a plan, Marquise, the mistakes that I made in college that still live with me today, I messed up that plan. If there was a plan, Marquise, you don't know the people that I've hurt. You don't know the people that I offended. You don't know the things that I have done. And because of your sins and because of your mistakes, you feel like I have messed up the plan too much. If there was a plan, I ruined it. If there was a plan left up to me, I sabotaged that plan because of the decisions that I made. And y'all, I'm here to let you know that it doesn't matter who we are in this room. A lot of us, if not all of us, live here. We live in these categories, pushing against this whole idea of God having a plan because you feel like you don't know it, you don't believe it, you missed it, or you messed it up. And it doesn't matter where you are in these categories. We all have had some doubts when it comes to God's plan for our life.